Let's get our wheel of names. I believe we are now live. I'm also going to grab the YouTube URL and I'm going to post it in the Discord. Welcome back, guys. We are actually doing another reroll for the RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes giveaway. Real quickly, let me go figure out where this is being streamed live so I can send the link. Should be somewhere in here. Let me just open in incognito because that should show what's happening here. Is it not public? What's happening here? Because I believe this should have been set to public. Yeah, it is public, so maybe I just have to wait for it to, okay, there it is. And this is our live stream. I'm sorry for the audio quality. I'm also sorry for not having a camera this time. But the reason is I am not at my university, so I can't do one of these like nice streams where I'm in the office. I can't really do one of those ones again. But we are going to be doing the same kind of thing. We're going to be spinning a wheel, seeing who gets the RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes. Again, thank you everyone for all the support. We've sold over 126 GPUs. I say over because there's more GPUs that I just haven't updated on this bar. But thanks to all of you guys who are supporting our community, we've helped more than 100 people get new graphics card for their PCs, which is crazy because this market for GPUs, it goes up and down. Right now is a good time, but there were some times when it was really tough to even find these deals. But for now, there are some really great deals, especially on GPUsniper.com. Again, we're gonna wait for some people to kind of join the chat here. We will be hopefully spinning the wheel very soon. I am starting the stream a little early. I'm going to try to see if we can do the spin at 6 p.m. EST. So you guys got a little bit of time to join up and, wait around. I'm also going to open this. I'm going to mute the audio just so I can see your chat. And I'm going to be watching my own stream because I don't know how else I can see the chat. Unfortunately, this time we also won't be doing TikTok streaming. So really YouTube is the only place that we're going to be having any of this shown. But if my chat would render, I believe we would be able to see whoever is sending stuff in here. Anyway, for now, I'm going to move that actually to my other monitor. Just one sec. And we will get started. Without further ado, let's get started. Once again, I still have no clue why the chat isn't rendering, so I'm going to refresh it. I do want to see messages from you guys, but if you guys really do want to see, if you guys really do want to say something to me, you can also say it in Discord, because I am accepting messages over Discord. I will, show your PC setups on stream if you send a PC setup here. But for now, let's get started with everything. So as of now, previous time, there were 1,643 entries to the giveaway. And I can rerun the giveaway script so we can get the new entries who have been, one sec. All the new entries who have joined since the last stream. So actually, I do need to open, one sec while I black out the screen. Sorry guys, I have to just get a private token from our secure platform so that I can actually do all of the information sending. Otherwise, I cannot connect to our server and I will not be able to fetch all of the giveaway entries. But I'm going to grab this up real quick here and very soon we will be able to start. Let me just grab that here. And I'm going to paste it into our script right here. And all this invalid stuff is going to be replaced with the new valid one. Close that, and now I can unblack the stream. 1 minute while I do that. So now I'm going to run this giveaway, and this is going to get all of the users. So as you can see, if your name is up here, you would be eligible to be on this wheel, which I'm going to actually fill up. Same thing as usual, Same thing as before. We are going to once again randomly pick from these and all the bonus entries. I'm not going to spin, not until way later, but I'm going to show you at least how many people there are on the wheel. So let's see that. And on my other monitor, I am going to check the stream chat, say hi to everyone, if I can. And I also don't know why, but my wallpaper engine is trying to play music, and I don't know if you can hear it, but I do want it to stop. And I can't find my mouse somehow. Where's my mouse? It's invisible. It's invisible. My mouse is invisible. This is annoying because my mouse is invisible. I literally can't see it, even on my other monitor. Okay, there it is. Now I'm going to mute this audio because I don't want this coming through. I'm also going to kill wallpaper engine. This was a random spin. That was not a real spin. Come on, let me scroll down here. Okay, so with all this lag that's going through, we have 1,672 entries. Yes, spin is happening at 6. I am seeing the YouTube chat now. Let's go rerun number 3. Yeah, this is rerun number 3. Technically, it's roll number 4 because we had the first run, and then we had to reroll 1, 2, 3 times. So now this is roll number 4. If you guys do want to share your PC bills or talk about PCs, we're also doing that for the hour before. And definitely just get ready because this is gonna get real really soon. Let's also get prepared to run this. So, as you know, GPU prices have been changing a lot recently, and there's been a lot going on with the GPU market. But Black Friday is a thing, and it is currently Black Friday. So I have a question for you. How many of you people in chat have seen a good GPU deal for Black Friday that you thought you could get, but it's still too high, even on Black Friday? Because this year's Black Friday has been especially underwhelming. So I don't blame you if that's the case. I know that there have been so many people hoping like 5080, I want to see it at 929 again, but it's never happened. This 5080 has been stuck at 999, and we have seen it at 929 previously this year. So if you're waiting for it to go down, honestly, I thought it would have gone down too, but maybe it's going to be later in Black Friday or it's going to be for Cyber Monday. 9060 XT 16 gigabytes for 300. That is probably about right. I was seeing it for 340 earlier today. I saw another time it was 320. It's been dropping a lot. But I do agree that yes, the rest of Black Friday has been very underwhelming, and this is probably due to the DRAM shortage. Now I know that there was causing GPU prices to increase. I know that in my recent video I showed this article, but basically what it means is these DRAM modules, which are memory for your GPU, have become increasingly scarce. Even though Samsung developed really new DRAM modules, as you know, if you go to Amazon and you look for 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, you're going to find some insanely high prices. And this is because AI data centers have been taking all the memory. It just so happens to be that the same company that produces this memory makes your GPU's memory too. And so since these are manufactured by the same company and they're becoming overloaded with all these AI and server companies wanting this super beefy, super fast RAM, and they want it in super large quantities, like terabytes at a time, it means these prices over here are going to go up because nobody is manufacturing these anymore. So even a basic G-Skill Trident is going to be like $300. And it sucks, but it's what's been happening. RAM more expensive than my GPU. I know, me too, honestly, because I think my RAM is going for like almost 2,000 now, and I bought it for $350, but it's like 10x in price, and that's crazy. My GPUs together, I mean, each one was like around 700, so like $1,400. So honestly, seeing my RAM going for 2,000 is just crazy. I should honestly sell my RAM and buy some GPUs with it instead, because I could get two 5080s if I sold my RAM. I'm not even joking. Um, but that's maybe another day. Um, but yes, Black Friday. The reason why the prices have been a little bit disappointing is because these companies still want to make their profits. And even selling a 5070 for below 500, which was happening at the beginning, that can only last for so long. And I wish it could last longer, but that's why we track it. So every single 5070, we have a few that are at 529. Seems to be the new price is 530 instead of 500. But there have been a lot of other deals that have been below MSRP. And up until here, these are below MSRP. These start to be at the MSRP range. So there are a lot of 5070s below MSRP. You're buying an SSD, or are you talking about over here? Um, I was thinking about it. So these SSDs are 4 terabytes, but they're Gen 5. So I was thinking of adding some more into my computer because my computer has a lot of slots for SSDs. I still have a few open. I think I currently have 4 M.2s in my first PC and only 1 M.2 in my second PC. So I was going to move one of my SSDs over to my second PC and add a Gen 5 into my main PC just to make the storage a little bit faster. Especially it does count when you're trying to load AI models from the disk. Because even with 96 gigabytes of memory, you can only put so many AI models in it. Gen 5, to be honest, isn't that worth it. That is true, but for this price, I mean, you see Gen 4 is going at the same price. I mean, if it was the original price of, I guess it's 373, normally it was like 549, I think. But if you see the actual original price, this thing was crazy expensive compared to how much cheaper and more affordable it is right now. And the Galaxy Watch 8? Oh, yeah. So my recent Galaxy Watch unfortunately broke, so I was getting a new one. Um, I'm here to talk about PC parts, not necessarily all of those other items, but I guess I can talk about it. Um, I would like to see if any viewers are sharing their PC builds. Because the first time we did this stream, we had a lot of PC builds being shared, a lot of PC building advice going around, and that was really nice. How do I join the giveaway? So you join the giveaway by going to gpusniper.com, and then all you have to do is create an account. So sign up, and then enter a username, email, and a password, and then you have to verify your email. And once you verify your email, you are automatically entered with one entry. But there are ways to get additional credits. In here, you can see the official terms and conditions. Under this section, you can enable email notifications for +3 credits, and my program does fetch this. I have a little program that detects if you're enrolled, and 1 credit for following me on TikTok, 1 credit for subscribing to me on YouTube, and 2 credits for joining the GPU Sniper Discord server. Now, in order to actually get the credits for the TikTok and YouTube, you do have to join the Discord and you have to send me screenshots because I don't really have another way to do this. We're working on other ways to verify, but as of now, this is how we do it. Um, and very recently, I think the previous time we changed it so you only have 3 days to respond to the giveaway instead of 7, because 7 was way too long and people just weren't responding. So since we're on reroll number 4, you do have 3 days left to respond, and if you don't respond within those 3 days, we do another spin. That's why we seem to be streaming a little earlier today. It's just because I changed the terms and conditions so that we only have 3 days to respond. That makes it a lot more fair for all the other people who didn't win, because otherwise we're waiting 7 days on somebody who might not even check their email. Because I checked the email twice today, and I haven't seen any kind of information from them. And I bet if I check it again, it is 10 minutes past the deadline, so even if they did respond, it would be invalid. But if I check the email, I'm going to see that there is no replies to any of our reach outs. And I did check the email off screen if you are wondering about that. What's the cheapest NVMe out there? So there are some cheap Gen 3 NVMEs. Let me check Amazon here. But I would not recommend buying a Gen 3. I would at least recommend buying Gen 4. So if you look for 2 terabyte Gen 4 PCIe NVMe, let's search that, and you will see this one is a pretty good bang for your buck, I would say. Previously, there were some for around $120, but honestly, it's $10 more than it was earlier this year. And with all storage prices going up from AI anyway, you might as well just go with a reliable, crucial P310. Um, And if you are interested in this SSD, I can share it in the Discord, but I would recommend this one. And if your motherboard doesn't have Gen 4, you can still use it at Gen 3 speeds, and it'll still work at Gen 4 if you upgrade your motherboard to Gen 4. In fact, this laptop I believe that I'm on right now, it is only up to Gen 3, but I have a Gen 4 SSD in there because it was actually very cheap at the time that I got it. Um, Oh, sorry about that. I'm technically not supposed to show this, but I was experimenting with my price history a Chrome extension, um, because Amazon does not like when you show price history publicly on your server, so you have to save it privately, which is kind of a stupid thing to do, but Amazon kind of enforces that, and that was my workaround for the time being. Later, since Newegg is a little bit more lenient on this, we're probably just going to implement full price tracking, kind of like what you see on PC Part Picker, but with Newegg only, because they are the only ones who have allowed us to do it so far. Um, as of now, I guess, yeah, the only thing you would want to look at for Black Friday is possibly anything that isn't RAM. Is it worth it to stay on AM4 and upgrade right now, or upgrade to AM5 obviously later? Um, I would say you could stay on AM4 at least until RAM prices change, because as of now, RAM prices aren't looking too promising. As you know, there's just too many AI companies are wanting RAM. So I would recommend staying on your AM4, maybe wait for everything to die down a little bit, then upgrade to AM5 with some better RAM, and you might also have saved up more money at that time. Is the giveaway for the US only? No. So we actually do shipping outside of the US. I can go to the news page over here. If you see right here, we cover import taxes up to 15% of the GPU's retail value. I don't know where it says it, but I just know that that's what we said. Where did I put this? But we cover taxes up to 15% of the GPU's retail value. So basically any GPU under $450 will be fine, and we will be able to also cover the import taxes on it if you live outside of the US. Um, but anything exceeding 15%, unfortunately, since we do have to draw a line somewhere, that would be something that you would have to manually pay unless we work something out. Like if it's really small, like a couple dollars, I'm not going to force you to pay that, but if it's like $200, like half of the GPU's value, like at that point, either choose a cheaper GPU or maybe just pay something, because we set a value of the price, and if it costs much more than what we expect, then we might need a little bit of compensation to at least ship the GPU out. But you will be getting a 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes, or you can pick any other GPU that's under that price if you want. Um, we did also have the option, if you wanted a better GPU, like a 5080, you could pay extra for that. Technically, that is allowed. But I do like to, think that this is kind of where most people will pick, especially if you're a budget builder. This is a really good GPU for a budget PC because it has 16 gigabytes of VRAM. I'm the guy that posted super cheap DDR5 in the Discord. Yeah, so actually, very recently, I don't know who it was selling it, but somebody decided to list DDR5 RAM for the regular price. I can't seem to find it. Was it posted in general? Maybe PC recommendations? Somebody posted it. Yeah, it was this one. Somebody listed, is this Java? I think it's Java, but they listed DDR5 for literally $110. This is probably the cheapest RAM in the US for like a few minutes until it sold. Actually, I just realized this is eBay. Sorry about that. Um, but that is crazy, honestly. Um, that's a great price for the 5060 Ti, by the way. Yeah. So currently the 5060 Ti is below MSRP, $419. There is usually they're $429. It is $10 under MSRP. But I've actually been catching them under $400. I've been seeing them for $399 sometimes. What if until the giveaway is claimed, the 5070 goes to $450 and the winner picks it? That is perfectly fine. You can pick a 5070. Our next giveaway will also be a 5070. So that is okay. But also, I could potentially modify the giveaway if we do realize that a 5070 is too low of value for the return that we are getting. We might amp up the stakes a little bit, maybe raise to the TI and then 5080, 5090 for the rest of them. Because right now I did 5060 Ti, 5070, 5070 Ti, and 5090. The logic behind it was at the time the 5070 Ti was about half the price of the 5080 because 5080s were going for $1,500 back then. So when I made this, I put 5070 Ti, but I'm honestly considering just changing it to 5080 just to make people more happy. And in this case, if after we go away the 5060 Ti or potentially a 5070, if this starts looking more like we could afford a 5070 Ti, then I might just switch it to a 5070 Ti just to make the experience better for everyone. But once again, this is the only guaranteed foundation. I'm not guaranteeing that I will change any of these. Um, I just might depending on how things go. Is the 5060 Ti better than the 3080? That is actually a pretty hot debate. I would say if you're comparing to the 10 gigabyte version, definitely the 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes. The 12 gigabytes, it starts to have a little bit more memory room, which starts to make it potentially a little bit better. But if you look at the 3080, you see it has 350 watts of power usage. And if you look at the 5060 Ti, it uses only 180 watts, which is significantly less. So even though the 3080 is going to perform a little bit better, it has less memory and it consumes like almost double the power. So I would really highly recommend buying the 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes instead of the 3080. Is 8 gigabytes enough for 1080p nowadays? I would say 8 gigabytes is enough. This laptop actually does have a 4060 laptop GPU, and that is more than enough for 1600p, which is actually bigger than 1440p. Again, I do only play like Valorant and Minecraft and very basic games, but to me, 8 gigabytes has been enough on this computer, and I haven't needed to increase the amount of memory on my GPU. I do also enjoy my 4070s, which are 12 gigabyte GPUs, and my 4070 Super, also 12 gigabytes on my desktop for 1440p. Um, what time am I rolling? We're gonna roll at 6 p.m. Eastern time, which is actually since this is Hawaii time, it's gonna be a little bit different. But at 1 p.m. here, we're gonna be rolling, and that's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern. 1440 on COD with 8 gigabytes is fine at comp settings. Agreed. Shaders on Minecraft, sometimes. It does depend, because if I hit shaders on, I can really only hit to 120 to 240 FPS. Without shaders, I can go 300 plus FPS. And obviously with my desktop GPUs, I don't really need to worry about that because a 4070 versus a 4060 is actually a big increase in power. And 4070 is usually hitting 800 plus FPS on Minecraft. So I don't really need to worry about that. Even in Valorant, it hits 500-ish FPS. Um, and that's been my experience with GPUs so far. Is it worth it to buy no clothes to be able to save up for? I would say buy some clothes. It is definitely noticeable when you don't wash your clothes. And if you don't have enough clothes to put in the washing machine, then you should be buying more clothes instead of saving up for a GPU. Personally, if I had to make that decision, I would buy basic necessities and then I would invest into technology. Um, and I'm sure there's someone nearby who you could do a very, very basic job for that honestly would take maybe 20 to 30 minutes. And you could get maybe $100 from it. And then you could use that to buy a GPU. I don't know how it is in your country, but it might be more difficult for you, but best of luck with it. PC parts before food. As somebody who has previously done that, I would advise against it. There was a time when, believe it or not, I was really broke before I worked at the AI company that I did before I started creating this business. Um, and I decided instead of investing into food, I would invest into some technology because obviously I am a computer science student. I do a lot of coding. So I went ahead and bought a few things, and honestly, I do regret it because the food that the cafeteria was giving me was not great. It was actually making me really sick, and I was even at one point coughing up blood. It was not great. So I eventually decided, you know what? I'm gonna buy actual real food, and I stopped eating the garbage food at the cafeteria, and actually, that's around the same time I got the AI job, so then I didn't really need to worry too much about money after that, um, which was lucky. Um, Obviously, I am at a completely different position right now than I was back then, but I would not recommend going for tech over food, um, because even though I was in college, I don't know what your situation is right now, but I would always recommend basic necessities, then technology. Um, It's just kind of how you should do things. It paid off though. Actually, it didn't really, because the tech that I bought wasn't even the desktop that I use. The desktop that I use it's bought after I got into the AI company. So after I made my first paycheck, I spent it on the desktop. That was kind of the first thing I did. Because I immediately wanted to have a better setup to do my work. And so that's what I invested it into. Um, but yeah, okay, so it is around 23 minutes into the stream, and very soon we will be spinning at 6 PM EST. So definitely be waiting for that. Bonus entries still are being accepted. So if you do DM me on Discord, I will try my best to honor the bonus entries. I will temporarily pull Discord off to the other monitor, and then I will do what I need to do and then bring it back. Um, It is gonna be a little difficult though, and I will probably be stalling on the main monitor until I can actually, you know, fix whatever it is on the alt monitor I need to do for the giveaway. It won't really look professional on stream, but I will try my best to honor your bonus credits. Um, because that is what you guys are here for. I'm pretty sure how many viewers do we have? We have 10 viewers. I'm pretty sure all 10 of you are here to see who I'm going to spin the wheel and have it land on. Um, because there are so many names up here, and honestly, one of them could be you. If you sign up and make an account, one of these names could be you. By just sign up on GPU Sniper, you will get an account, and from there, you're automatically entered with 1 credit. And I think I already talked about the bonus credits, but the more credits that you add, the better. What's the best AM4 CPU for 5060 Ti 16 gigabytes? That is an interesting question, because all of the 50 series, even the 5060 and kind of those lower end GPUs, they are designed for newer AM5 CPUs. If I had to choose, I would go with something that's around the strength of a 9600X, which I actually don't know AM4 CPUs too much, so I'm going to search 9600X AM4 equivalent. I think it's gonna come with maybe like one of those 5000 X3D CPUs. 9600X. There's no AM4 equivalent. Maybe the 5700X, I guess. So 5700X. Let's see how much that costs. That is a very expensive CPU. If I could recommend something else, I would recommend going for, hold on. I'm gonna first off see what options there are, and I'm gonna choose based off of what I see. Um, Honestly, I would not recommend this one. There's a reason it is so cheap, and it's because it's not even an X series. Um, I would recommend, since these ones down here are really expensive compared to those, I would recommend the 5800 XT or the 5700X, honestly. I just signed up. Does that mean I'm in? Yes. If you signed up with an account and you verified your email, then you are officially in the giveaway. And if you wanted extra bonus 3 credits, after you sign in, there should be a menu up in the top, which you can click here, and there is a button with email notifications. Go ahead and track your favorite GPU, and once you're tracking your favorite GPU, that is a plus 3 credit bonus, which you will have as additional credits. Referring friends also +5 credits, and all you need to do is send me their username on Discord. And by the way, joining Discord too is also a way to get bonus credits. The 7600X is similar in performance to 5800X3D. 5800X3D. I hope this is not a really expensive CPU. Oh, actually they don't sell it on here. Okay. So maybe the 5700X, but if I maybe look on Newegg, maybe they have the 5800X3D. I don't know. 5800X3D. Because honestly, these CPUs are just a little bit old, and it is hard to find old CPUs. AMD has regularly been releasing some newer AM4 CPUs, but honestly, looking at this 5800X3D price, I would just recommend bite the bullet and go for a 9800X3D, because it's going to be the same price as this. Hot take, AMD cards are ugly. I disagree. All cards have their own aesthetic, so if you wanted to put this in a PC that kind of went around this sort of aesthetic versus you wanted this kind of aesthetic instead, I mean, they are both perfectly valid options. Oh, wow. $499 if you wanted to get, I guess this must probably oh, never mind. I just realized. $409, but it's already sold out, so it's probably going to change it to the next one. Since I'm impatient, I'm going to go back here. Yes, Zotac, I guess, is the cheapest one this time. AMD XFX cards are pretty, I'm not going to lie. Let's look at an XFX card. Right here. These are pretty expensive though, but let's look at one. Looks like we still have a below MSRP 9070. What do the XFX looks like compared to the other ones? Honestly, that is pretty sleek. And I do see what you mean by this power color logo not being too pretty. But that is just the logo of the brand that sells them. I do believe there are other prettier AMD graphics cards. And you just really have to go looking for them. Now, obviously, I don't think many things are going to compare to the ROG Astral that NVIDIA makes. That is really hard to rival, but there are some good-looking AMD cards sometimes. Whatever you do, please don't buy the Reaper model. Why is the Power Color Reaper not a good buy? Obviously, I know that AS Rock is not a really good buy, but my question is, why would you believe that the Power Color Reaper is not a good model? I understand it has these ugly logos on it, but as far as performance-wise, I think it would do better than the AS Rock. They look like they're made to run good, not to look good. Honestly, that is true. A lot of AMD GPUs, you know, they look okay. I would say that if I had this in my PC, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But definitely the Asus NVIDIA GPUs do look pretty good. And also Asus AMD GPUs. I believe Asus does make RX Radeon GPUs. So let's take a look at one. Asus, I mean, it is like $100 more expensive, but these honestly don't look too bad. I would say these look pretty good actually. It's small and runs hot and loud. For the sorry, what is it? Power color one? This is a triple fan. It's not small. It's a triple fan. I would say that there's enough fans in here to go around and blast the whole thing with cold air. That is pretty. For the Asus one, sorry, I think there is a little bit of a chat delay. So for this one, yeah, I would agree that it does look very sleek like the NVIDIA ones. But for the power color, for the 9060 XT, this is probably a dual fan, is that why? Yeah, so this one, I would agree. It might be a little small unless your PC is literally an air conditioner, which mine kind of is. So I actually have, my 4070s are duals, only 2 fans, but my entire PC, I think, has almost 14 fans in it. So there's enough cold air to go around. And the CPU also has an AIO, so even less heat coming from that. Um, anyway, Let's look at Discord and see if anyone sent their PC setups. Again, still not many setups. Oh, we got a setup. Honestly, this looks pretty cool. Do you guys want to rate it? What do you guys rate it in chat? What does chat rate this setup? Looks like we got an NZXT AIO. There's a little reflection of some kind of LED strip over here. There is still a caution tape. Ideally, you should remove this caution tape because I think that's an insulator, thermal insulator. Glass is a little more of a thermal conductor than plastic, even though they're both technically insulators. And this monitor setup, I like that the middle one's an OLED. I can see it's OLED because of the black. Needs some better cable management down here. I think I would say that. And for each of these monitors, I would say maybe consider getting OLEDs over here. It's not too important, but I do like that there's at least 3 monitors. We can't see the chair, but it does look pretty good. I would at least give this an 8, if not a 9 out of 10. Only thing that I would really mark down here is this cable management. So maybe more of like an 8. I'd say like 8.3. But yeah, everything besides that cable down there was pretty clean. I do like the color aesthetic. I feel like this picture could have been a little bit better because there is some LED strip reflection. I can't really see the GPU. It looks like a Zotac, which is fine. You have some Trident RAM, NZXT. It's just really hard to tell what's going on here. Is that an SSD? I see your SSD right there. It looks actually it looks like the same one that I have in my desktop. So one of these SSDs, I know this is a SATA SSD. Why do I have it in my desktop? Because I've saved it for like almost 10 years. I've saved this exact SSD, like a very similar one to this, and I still have it in my desktop to this day. It has not broken down. Although I am using M.2s for most of my data, it's nice to have this as a little backup drive. Um, but yeah, I'm surprised you actually had the same SSD. That is crazy. I think actually this SSD came from when I think my dad was working at a company and they decommissioned some of their servers and some of them had consumer grade parts. So this was one of the things that he got. Hey Pi, do you trim or shave? My camera's off. Yeah, my camera's off. I do shave. I don't I don't know why you would ask that. But I do shave. It's super clean. It's a MX500. So maybe I think I have a different one. I know that mine was a 1 terabyte, so if it's a 500 gigabyte SSD, then I have a different one. But this is a 1 terabyte SSD back in 2015 when those things were like top of the line. So I think you could see why it was in an old company's server at one point. Um, but yeah, that is. I still have the SSD. Technically, it was in all kinds of PCs around the house for a while. Eventually, ended up in mine, and then we all upgraded to M.2, so nobody had a need for SATA, and I just happened to just keep it around. So I still have that SSD. Um. Anyway. Oh yeah. Why don't we talk about this one? Somebody sent 2 GPUs. These are both MSI. It looks like. Which one do you think looks better? 1 or 2? I'm going to answer other questions in the chat and give you a little bit of time to comment because there is stream delay. What do you think about the new upcoming Intel Office GPU with 24 gigabytes of VRAM? I'd say unless they can get CUDA on that, it's pretty worthless for me because I need CUDA to run AI. AI doesn't work on any of those non-CUDA GPUs. And unfortunately, I really do like that they're trying to make affordable 24 gigabyte GPUs, but unless we have CUDA or something like CUDA, I just cannot use it because AI will not work on it unless I can figure out some kind of driver. The one on the left, you think the one on the left looks better? I actually was almost going to say the one on the right, which is a little interesting because I feel like, I don't know, this white and black circles, it feels like plastic. It feels cheap. Whereas this is like kind of silver and shiny. It feels like metal. So it like feels like it looks a little bit better. I do get that it's more reflective. This one might be more of like a gamer kind of style, but I feel like overall, I feel like this one looks better to me at least. Left when it has power on, possibly. I don't know if there's maybe an RGB strip somewhere over there, but I feel like this one over here is the one that I would like if I actually put it in my PC. Um, are we gonna spin? Very soon. So I'm going to be doing the spin at 6 p.m. EST, and currently it is 5:36 p.m. EST. So it's not quite time for the spin just yet, which means you can still enter bonus credits. You can still refer people and get an additional 5 credits per referral. But up until then, we will be spinning at 6 p.m. EST. Is the giveaway for EU also? Yes, the giveaway is worldwide. So we cover up to 15% of the GPU's retail value in import tariffs and other costs that you get while shipping. Um, and yeah, the one I did say is that the logos being 2 different colors, I feel like that does kind of ruin it. If they were all white or they were all black, I feel like that would look a lot better. Um, is GPU water cooling worth it? Yes, but only if you buy a dedicated water block. Do not buy one of these GPUs that is water cooled, because let me show you. If I turn on the water cooled filter, actually this is a good deal. This is a good deal. This wasn't like this before. Um, well actually, oh never mind. This only has one fan. But some GPUs come with a place where you can place a dedicated water block on them. And this is, if you search GPU water block, you can see that there are actual water blocks you can put onto your graphics card to cool it down better. And these are actually pretty cheap. So honestly, if you did get some similar like non-water cooled GPU, for example, let's say that you went to get a 5080 and you got something that's water cooling compatible, because there are some that are not compatible with these water blocks. You do have to do a little bit of research. But sometimes, if you end up buying something like this as a cheaper water block, you can still get the benefits of water cooling without having to pay this extra amount. But honestly, for most people, I would say now this is an actually good deal, because previously there were some of these that were selling for over 1,600, and you could save a lot of money by just attaching your own water block. Personally, I don't use GPU water cooling. I have air cooling. But water cooling could make your GPU quieter, and you would still get the benefit from all these 3 fans and this 4th one spinning at a slower speed, and that's how you can get quieter with water cooling. I'm not in that territory yet, maybe on my 5th or 6th build. Agreed. I'm not in the territory yet either for GPU water cooling. Maybe if I get a server, I will have water cooled GPUs in the server. And by server, I mean like an actual AI server. Obviously, I already have a server running this website, but it's not like a professional grade AI server. Like, let me just show you this. This is like a $5 million server. I'm not going to have this for a while, but someday maybe, because I am planning on developing a game, and that might be just about the workload you'd expect for running AI within a video game. Water cooling only worth it for CPU? Yes, I do agree, because if you water cool your CPU, it is much quieter than an air cooler. You can barely even hear your water coolers, whereas for an air cooler, it is insanely loud for no reason. At that point, since water coolers are, hold on, CPU cooler? Since water coolers are about the same kind of price as air coolers, like look at this one, $50 CPU cooler. Might not be the best, but it is at least an AIO. Probably better than some of these. Um, for example, like these ones. Although this is a $32 deal, which is pretty good, you don't normally see them at this price. And honestly, I would recommend just getting a high quality AIO, because then you will never hear your CPU fan spinning ever again. Trust me when I say this. It helps a lot, especially if you use your computer for 10 hours a day for programming. It helps a lot having a fan that you can't really hear too much. Because if you're constantly listening to your fan whirring for 10 hours a day, you're going to go insane after a while. It's not going to be very fun. Any tips on selling a used GPU? I would say honestly, take a video of it powering up. That way people can see that it's a real GPU. Show the specs in Task Manager. State the number of gigabytes of VRAM, because that has been an increasing concern. and be upfront with everything, say what you've used it for, and tell them how long ago you bought it, because a lot of the time people don't want to buy GPUs that are 3 years or more old because they are afraid that they could have been crypto mined on, because that was something that was happening during the RTX 30 series, especially the big GPU shortages when COVID hit. So anything over 3 years old, a lot of people, even if you didn't do mining on it, people are afraid that you might have done crypto mining. And it actually doesn't impact really the GPU's lifespan, but some people are afraid of it because of just superstition, and that causes them to not want to buy it. So, especially if you did buy it after 2023, definitely say when you bought it, because that can already help a lot, because then people will know it wasn't mined on. Search the cheapest one and sell for $10 less. Also a very good strategy. But sometimes that's not what you should do, because if you're selling an MSI Supreme and somebody else is selling a PNY, you want to sell your MSI Supreme for more than their PNY is selling. You could put it at the same price, and you might get a sale instantly, but an MSI Supreme is worth far much more than a PNY is. And that's just because of the quality of components that goes into the heatsink, the cooling, and other things. I just seeing chat here. There's nothing really in chat. For now, I would say that if we can get a couple more PC setups to look over, that would be nice to see. How come RTX Titans are still going for $700? So I believe the RTX Titan is a workstation GPU, but let me pull this open. It was an older GPU, but I believe, okay, so first off, it is 24 gigabytes. That is one thing about it. It is, I believe, a workstation or data center GPU. I also just looked over here. It is a Turing architecture. So this was released at around when the 2080 Ti was released. And somehow this is, I guess, what they would do maybe for like a 3090. It's about equivalent to a 3090, except it is a little bit older. So that's maybe where you're seeing the $700 kind of hit down from the 3090 price. A lot of GPUs that are more than 20 gigabytes in size do tend to sell for increased and kind of artificially inflated amounts. Why do you use Opera and not Chrome? Because I get all my social media buttons over here. I also have the VPN, which sometimes I actually do use, and I didn't like how Chrome was taking a lot of data back in the past. So I switched to Opera because there was too much data being stolen, and I just didn't like Google enough at that point. So I switched over. I use Brave. I actually do have Brave on this computer. I actually have a lot of browsers, so I have Brave. I have also, I guess, Edge is the other one. I have Firefox. Maybe I uninstalled Firefox for some reason. I thought I